Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning in to another of my Medieval Kingdoms 12-12 tournament battles. We have completely finished round 1 now, and I will be putting the bracket up on the screen for you guys to see who has moved on to round 2 and who unfortunately has been eliminated. So we're on to round 2 now, and the only exception to the winners that we saw from round 1 is down in the left-hand corner of the tournament bracket. Red Celt was defeated against Samsky in round 1, but Samsky has withdrawn from the tournament, so Red Celt will be moving on to round 2 in his stead to fight Hamdog CDXX. So without further ado, we're going to get to the first of our round 2 battles, and that would be HOENN Master versus DABOSS 11111. So let's go ahead and get to their battles. Welcome to the first battle between HOENN Master and DABOSS 11111. We're going to look at HOENN Master's army first. He is playing as the Kingdom of England, and he's got these beautiful footmen-at-arms here lined up and ready for battle. That's most of his main front line. He has 4 units of them, and then he also has 3 units of these high period sergeants of the English King. He chose the high periods over the late period because they've got I think substantially better missile block than the late period ones do. And then way over on the flank, he has 3 units of Spear Militia, which will go hand in hand with his, I believe these are knightly retinue here. And he also has the Earl of Hereford on the battlefield as his general's bodyguard. And then over on the other flank, it's much of the same. He has 2 of the knightly retinue with 2 more Spear Militia. And then he's actually not gone for longbows. He's gone for the Hanseatic Infantry, which is a crossbow unit. And they are pretty good for their missile damage, but they can also form shield wall, like you can see them doing right now, which is very, very useful for an archer unit to be able to do. So that's it for HOENN Master's army, so let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. And now we take a look at DABOSS 11111's army. He is playing as the Swiss Waldstadt, and he has 3 units of these very heavy pikemen here that are kind of being held in reserve. They're tier 3. And then he has his dismounted general's bodyguard, which is a really, really nice looking unit. And I think that actually this is him here with this very glorious hat. Very nice there, so that's the Swiss general. And he has 3 units of these Kyburg Knights, which are a tier 1 infantry, but they're very, very good at holding the line. I've used them myself a couple of times, and they do seem to be doing pretty well in melee for a tier 1 unit. And then he also has 2 units of the Yuri Swordsman here, mixed in with the rest of the Kyburg Knights. He has 3 of the Kyburg Knights total. And then he has, I believe, just crossbow sergeants for his 4 units of crossbows. Over here, looking at his cavalry, he has 2 units of the mounted crossbowmen. And then he has a Swiss noble unit of the late period and the Kyburg Knights, which are one of the flashiest knights. Really, really like the Kyburg Knights here. And I believe the first battle I ever fought with DABOSS 11111, I was defending as Switzerland, and he was attacking. And I believe I called it the Kyburg Knights wreck or something lame like that, but I think I won that battle because of my Kyburg Knights. If you use this tier 1 cavalry effectively, they can do a lot of work on the battlefield for you. But that's it for the 2 army comps, so let's go ahead and take a look at the battle. Alright guys, so the battle begins on DABOSS's left-hand flank with his crossbow cavalry firing into the ranks of the knightly retinue here. It looks like the knightly retinue, though, are not going to slow down. They're going to continue and try and catch these mounted crossbows in melee. Luckily, the Kyburg Knights there charging forwards to protect the mounted crossbowmen. It looks like they are going to be able to get out of there. Meanwhile, it looks like HOENN Master is slowly moving up his main line as well as his left-hand flank. And he does have his general and that other unit of cav over here. And keep in mind that DABOSS has all 4 units of his cavalry over on this side. And it looks like they are doing pretty well against the knightly retinue, given that they are only tier 1 cavalry. But we've got the Spear Militia closing in very, very quickly to help give the English cavalry the edge. And it looks like the crossbow's moving forwards as well. DABOSS, I think he's just going to kind of sit where he is for now. He is pulling one of his units of heavy pikemen over in case his cavalry does need some help, but the Swiss nobles of the late period should easily be able to rout the knightly retinue. That is until the spear militia gets in there, gets involved, and helps them out. But the morale is already pretty low for the knightly retinue. They're shaken due to the losses they've sustained. But the right-hand flank, or sorry, HOENN's left-hand flank is moving in. So he does have the 3 units of spear militia kind of moving in. It looks like some of the crossbows focusing the spear militia, but I wouldn't really have bothered with that. And over here as well, DABOSS's crossbow cavalry that could be at, you know, better use somewhere else in the battle are just firing on this 1 unit of spear militia, keeping these 2 units of cav busy. And it looks like they actually did get involved, so I think DABOSS was microing in another area of the battlefield, but he should be able to get most of his crossbow cavalry out of there without suffering too many losses. But we have the pikes over here. The Swiss nobles, though, only taking 2 casualties so far. I think I would push the pikes over here because it's more of an even battle between the knightly retinue and the foot knights. But this is a big problem for DABOSS here. He's got the knightly retinue and the Earl of Hereford in behind. And it looks like he's forming his pikes into square here. So that does leave a lot of room for the enemy cavalry to kind of run around them. And a huge charge into the Kyburg foot knights over here. Crossbows trying to get out of the way, but there's really just nowhere to run. There's nowhere that's safe on the battlefield from that cavalry. And I think that the knightly retinue over here will get a pretty decent charge into these crossbows. Actually, no, not that good. I think he was going for the general's bodyguard, actually. Wow, getting a lot of kills on that unit. 30 kills in that one charge. Impressive. And then over here as well, charging into the Kyburg foot knights. Here comes the Earl of Hereford to make sure that they break off the battlefield. But it's pretty even, I would say, in the center. Although it looks like the sergeants of the high period are kind of sitting here without much to do. Hohenmaster could push this unit in to get at the crossbows. But we've got the general over here getting a nice charge into the crossbows. DABOSS's general trying to close in from behind as well, but Hohenmaster's just going to pull through his unit of sergeants. And where is that crossbow cav? Yeah, we've got a few of them kind of running around the battlefield now. DABOSS getting a counter charge into the Hanseatic infantry, but these guys are pretty solid in melee, so that's going to be a little bit tough for them to be able to defeat the Hanseatic infantry with only crossbow cav. Over here, though, it looks like DABOSS's right flank is going pretty well for him due to the fact that it's mostly just militia on this flank. But these 2 units of pikemen need to get into battle. They can't just sit here in square formation like that. Especially since you can see that the whole middle of DABOSS's front line has broken now. If we kind of zoom out here, if you take a look at the balance of power, it's pretty even, maybe a little bit in HOENN's favor, but HOENN has a 300-man advantage to DABOSS at this point. Now, granted, looks like he started with a 600-man advantage, but he's down to 300. But I think that those numbers are going to help him get this victory, because look at all these units. He's got all of his footmen at arms here, these tier 3 units. They're just sitting here. They're not even fighting. He's got 1 unit over here that's going after the crossbow sergeants, but I think there's just not enough cavalry for DABOSS to defend his flanks like this. The general's bodyguard coming over here. We've got the dismounted general's bodyguard for DABOSS's Swiss here. And good, he's actually spread out this 1 unit of pikemen, which is a good call. And the crossbow cavalry over here now having to fight the spear militia. Here comes a charge into the dismounted general's bodyguard from Hohenmaster's general. And yeah, it looks like the Swiss general is going to waver at that charge and break completely off the battlefield. So that is a big problem for the Swiss. But yes, looks like DABOSS is focusing his crossbows at the enemy general here, the Earl of Hereford, and he is wavering as well. So he may very well break off this battlefield as well. Yes, so both of them have lost their general. So that kind of evens the playing field, but it's still the balance of power sliding more and more into Hohenmaster's favor. And again, these two units of pikemen, they're not really supporting the front line over here. This unit of pikemen is over here, but it just got attacked from the flanks from these elite foot knightly retinue. So they definitely broke off the battlefield. I can understand why that happened. And Hohenmaster, it looks like he's trying to get rid of this cavalry with his crossbows. But it's looking pretty grim at this point. 6 minutes and 30 seconds left on the in the battle, though. And we've got the Kyburg Foot Knights still alive. They are exhausted, but I think they're going to try and save the crossbow units over here. What do we got? We got some Sergeants of the High Period coming through. And it looks like the charge... That charge wasn't that great, to be honest. Could have been better. I think that they were blocked by the retreating crossbow sergeants there. And there goes DABOSS's whole front line, so that's a big problem. He's got 2 units of the heavy pikemen here still left, and he does have his crossbow cavalry. But the problem is that he doesn't have his general. And look at these guys, the Kyburg Foot Knights over here bravely fighting against the sergeants of the English king. And let's see what the Kyburg Foot Knights are going to do now. He has to be careful because HOENN does have this unit of Hanseatic infantry still left here. But I think HOENN is out of cav. He doesn't have any more cavalry at this point. So it's really all down to his mainline infantry, which just powered through the Swiss line. But now they're going to have to deal with the pikemen. And HOENN... Oh, no! Yeah, I was going to say, HOENN does have 1 unit of crossbows left, but a huge charge by the Kyburg Foot Knights might see the crossbows off this battlefield for good. Yes, so they are gone now, and the Kyburg Knights probably will break as well, but that is pretty crippling for HOENN. Even though the balance of power is with him at this point, he only has infantry left. Meanwhile, DABOSS still has his 2 units of crossbow cavalry, and crossbow cavalry can shred infantry without much problem, and he has 2 units of crossbows over here with pretty full ammo. So he's not going to really be able to flank around these pikemen very quickly. DABOSS should be able to react to that. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen here. Looks like HOENN is pulling back. And the crossbow cavalry are going to go and harass the units that are trying to pull back, like this unit of sergeants here. Oh yeah, just getting some good shots there, even though they're in shield wall. And now they're actually facing the other way. But I would try and save my crossbow cavalry and go for these men-at-arms here. Because if I'm not mistaken, they have even worse missile block. Foot men-at-arms, 40, and these guys are 35, but they can form shield wall, which would push them up to 65. Oh, apparently the foot men-at-arms can form shield wall as well. But it looks like it doesn't... Oh, yeah, there we go. So 65 to 60. So actually, they do have a little bit better missile block. But, oh no, it looks like a lot of his DABOSS's units are wavering here. That's very frustrating. It doesn't look like he can get them any closer without them all breaking. Oh, that is too bad. I guess it's just from the casualties that they've sustained. Oh, that sucks. Because I feel like these 2 units of crossbow cavalry have it in them to at least rout 2 of these units. And that would only leave 4 units left for the 2 pikemen units to deal with. And I feel like they could do that. Not to mention the crossbow sergeants are still 3/4 ammo or more. But this is the main problem, is that they're all just wavering. As soon as they try to get into range over here, they just start to waver and break. Oh, that is so frustrating. That is rough. And I guess there's just nothing left to do but to jump into this main line of infantry here. And watch as they move forwards against the 2 units of pikemen that are back in square formation. And to be honest, I find that pikes in square formation aren't really that useful. They tend to kind of get pulled out of position a lot, and when they try to readjust, when they suffer casualties and they try to readjust their square, they actually lift all their pikes up to readjust, and then subsequently lose even more. So, I don't know. I don't really like pikes in square. I'd rather have them in like a long line with about 3 widths, or 3 men deep, 3 ranks deep, is a good solid pike formation. But let's see if I can show you what I'm talking about here, how they kind of readjust their position. Yeah, it looks like they're engaging pikemen on all sides here. Old pikemen, old Swiss pikemen. Yeah, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. So see how they suffer losses, and then they all lift their pikes up, and then try to put them back down? So that's why I don't really like doing it with pikes. When halberds do it, when they reposition, they still have their halberds down. And look at that. See, they still try to reposition, and they just get pretty much bottlenecked. Over here, this unit is doing a little bit better, but I think HOENN's just charging his men through them to break up the formation. And there we go, a Pyrrhic victory for HOENN's English forces. So, taking a look at the kills, decent kills with the 2 units of cav that were on the left-hand flank. And his main line doing really well, just muscling through the Swiss pretty easily. Crossbows, not many kills, though. Looking at the Swiss, 1 unit of pikemen got 128 kills, which is solid. 1 unit of Khyberg Foot Knights, 148. That is awesome for a Tier 1 infantry unit. And then his 2 units of cav did well, and even the crossbow cav did pretty well. I just wish that they were able to use up more of their ammo. It would have been probably a very close battle. So that's it for the first one, so let's go ahead and take a look at the second one. So now we come to the second battle between DABOSS 11111 and HOENN Master, and this time we're going to take a look at DABOSS's army first, and he is playing as the Despotate of Epirus, and he's got 4 units of the Skutatoy late spear unit in the front lines, and I kind of love how they have like the Byzantium crest over here, or at least it looks very Byzantium-like, of the Eastern Roman Empire. And then right in behind that, he has 2 units of the Skutatoy swordsmen of the High Period. And then he has 4 units of the Epirite swordsmen, which are Tier 1. For his archer force, he has 2 units of heavy archers Tier 1. And 2 units of heavy archers late period. And again, just look at that shield. That is a nice shield. Don't mind the little sword handle sticking out there, but really, really cool. Love the detail. And then for his cavalry, he has 2 units of the mercenary German knights here. He has 1 on either flank. And then he also has a unit of Dynatoy of the High Period. Get a little zoom in there for you guys. Really nice looking cavalry. And then his general's bodyguard over here, who is the Epot's bodyguard. Oh, sorry, Despot's bodyguard. And that is the Epirite king, I'd imagine, since he's wearing a crown. And that is it for DABOSS's army, so let's go ahead and take a look at HOENN Masters. The next army in today's battle is the Empire of Nicaea, and this is commanded by HOENN Master. And he's got very similar build to the Despotate of Epirus, just due to the fact that they can field most of the same units. But HOENN has already developed a nice defensive position here. A little bit of a diamond formation, I guess, kind of, a little bit. But he has 4 units of the Mortatoi in the center. That's his archer force. And then he has 4 units of the Scutatoi spears, 3 units of the Scutatoi swords, 4 units of the Cantoratoi pikemen, tier 1. And then he has a Spatheroi guard for his general. And, oh, I guess with the peacock feathers, that would be the general's bodyguard there. And then for his cavalry on the outside, he has 4 units of the heavy archers. Heavy bow cavalry. Yes, heavy bow cavalry. And that's going to be really difficult. I was going to say a little difficult, but it's going to be really difficult for DABOSS, because not only is HOENN in this defensive diamond formation with all of his infantry in general, but there's no way that his cavalry is going to be able to catch the heavy horse archers. So we'll see how he deals with this in the upcoming battle. Alright guys, welcome to the second battle between HOENN and DABOSS 11111, and we find ourselves in a very tense skirmish mode over here, with DABOSS really using his cavalry to try to zone out the pesky heavy horse archers. You can see I've actually cut out a decent amount of the battle, but the Epirite swordsmen here are getting skirmished down. We've got some of the mercenary German knights depleted, the Dynatoi trying to chase off the enemy horse archers and then getting shot in the back as they retreat. But now it looks like he is moving forward some of his archers to get in range of the heavy horse archers, and they've got really poor missile blocks, so hopefully DABOSS will be able to just shred their numbers. But it looks like HOENN is moving all of his Mortatoi out to return fire at the enemy archers and actually also go for the cavalry. And we already see major losses for DABOSS's cavalry, which is really, really difficult. You need your cavalry for sure in this battle. But at the same time, it's really difficult because there's no way for DABOSS to use his cavalry effectively, except for that charge was pretty amazing. That was a really nice cinematic charge. But now they're locked in melee against these Scutatoi spears, so he's going to have to try to withdraw from that engagement. But the balance of power is pretty much dead even. HOENN, again, outnumbering his opponent by about 400 men, so probably bringing lesser tier units.
Men have broken and the enemy have rallied their units.
But that charge actually got a side hit on the Cantoratoi over here, and they actually lost almost half of their unit. So well done to DABOSS here. This can be very difficult to deal with, because a lot of times you don't build your army expecting this to happen. So there's not really a lot that he can do. The cavalry is just too slow to chase down the heavy horse archers. Yet if he doesn't do it, they just will fire onto, you know, his infantry and just deplete them. But he's going to need all of his infantry to deal with this later on. So it's really a catch-22. There's not much that you can do about it. I did do a battle on this with James the Great, I think about 6 months ago, where we had 2 players who built this defensive box playing as Rome, and we were able to defeat it. But the thing is that we both brought Eastern factions. There was a high cavalry rule, and a lot of my cavalry had Pila, so I was able to kind of get in there and just shred their units, and same with James the Great, just being really patient, taking out their cavalry first off, because they did not bring archer cavalry. They brought shock cav, and we were able to eliminate them. And then we basically had time to just whittle away at this defensive formation. But the fact that HOENN brought archer cavalry, until this cavalry runs out of ammo, there's really not much DABOSS can do. And that really, that does suck, because you basically just have to watch your men die. Again, looks like the general also trying to zone out these horse archers, because it's one of his only cavalry units left, but then getting focused down as well. You can see he's lost 4 men. And the Scutatoi, they're slowly moving back into a better position. They are in shield wall, but they're facing away from the heavy horse archers, so they're going to have to be careful there. But it looks like DABOSS is going to form up kind of a similar a similar formation to HOENN, which is a good call because he really just can't do anything against these archers. He just has to be patient and wait out their ammo. But, oh, some good volleys there. That's what I'm talking about. Whew. Just annihilating this unit, but we've got some return fire from this other unit of heavy horse archers here, which it looks like they are moving in, so I'm not sure if they're going for a charge or not. But they are taking a fair few losses as they try to make it into battle. Oh, man. Yeah, and I think that amount of damage is going to rout them. Yes, yeah, so 2 of the heavy horse archers are gone, so he just has to deal with the other 2. But HOENN, again, just really being able to eliminate DABOSS's mobility early on, so that does give him the edge now, because only his general's bodyguard is left. But it's just, oh, DABOSS has nowhere for his general to run, basically. And they're being focused down on all sides by that heavy horse archer unit. The king blocking his face there with his shield, and it looks like he's going to just try and ride away. But HOENN Master, it looks like he did break that formation, and he is moving his men forwards. But at this point, I think it did give him enough of an edge. Like, he's not even moving his forces forwards very quickly. Oh man, if only he brought a few of the Epirite Guard, because they have Pila. And if they had moved that close, they would have just got shredded. The Epirite Guard would have just thrown their Pila right into the sides of the heavy horse archers. And are they going for a charge? Yeah, I didn't think so. I was like, ooh, now both of them won't have any cavalry. But it looks like this unit of Epirite Swordsmen is just chasing down this last unit of Heavy Horse Archers. It looks like it did return from routing. Oh man, but the General's bodyguard over here really weakened by this assault. And some of his archers as well. This unit of Heavy Archers, with most of their ammo left, is wavering. Luckily, it's only the Tier 1 archers, so they're not as elite. And it looks like we're getting a charge here from the Heavy Horse Archers. Not a bad charge, due to the fact that the Skutatoy Swordsmen were facing the wrong way, but the Heavy Horse Archers just don't have a lot of weight behind them, so they can't really get really solid charges. Let's zoom out and see what else is going on here. Balance of power, pretty much in HOENN's favor now. He does have a 600 man advantage, and he has all of his archers moving forwards. Not sure what they're trying to get in range of. I think the enemy archers over there. Oh yeah, getting some good kills there. Oh, I love that sound of just the men moving forwards, marching into battle like that.
Cheer, you miserable lots! Cheer!
The Kingdom of Nicaea is here. And here we go. It looks like the infantry engagement is finally going to begin. We've got one of the units of Skutatoy Swordsmen running after this Skutatoy Swordsman. Both of them are the same unit, but this one is heavily depleted, so HOENN Master's units should win that engagement. And we've got a little flanking force over here from DABOSS with some Skutatoy and his Epirite Swordsman. But it's not looking good for him at this point in the battle.
Attacking our general.
And oh yes, HOENN's general is under fire now, but they are in shield wall, so it's going to be very difficult to take him down with the archers. And look at this, the poor general's bodyguard just trying to keep these pesky archers out of here, but then just being fired upon. The heavy archers keep breaking and returning, breaking and returning. And the Mortatoi over here starting to eliminate most of the heavy archers for DABOSS, and it looks like DABOSS just can't do anything else at this point. He's just allowing these units of Skutatoy swordsmen to flank around him because he just doesn't have enough units anymore to form up a proper battle line, really. And here we go. We've got some of the pikemen closing in against the spears here. Looks like they're not going to get their pikes down in time, though, which is good. And over here, there's actually just 3 separate pockets of fighting, which is really cool. With we got the spears fighting swords, the swords fighting swords, and the spears fighting spears over here. And it looks like we got a unit of upright swordsmen moving in. I'm not sure. Oh, he's just wanting to block the flank over here, but here come the heavy horse archers again with just effective enough of a charge to cause these upright swordsmen to waver. And now when this unit moved in to flank around the pikemen, the general outflanked the flanking unit. And it looks like that is going to be it. So yeah, like, it is really unnerving and very difficult to deal with a formation like that, and especially when it's horse archers as well for the cavalry, because a lot of people do spend a lot of money on their cavalry to be able to win the cavalry engagement and therefore most often win the battle. But if they brought heavy horse archers and you can't catch them with your very expensive cavalry and you end up losing them, there's not much else you can do. Just looking at these pockets of fighting over here, yeah, a lot of the units getting depleted for Epirus. And the Spathroid Guard actually pulling out of melee here.
The men are broken and running for their lives.
And there's the Despot's Bodyguard just heading out of the battlefield now. And that's really going to affect DABOSS's morale. So I think it's safe to just kind of zoom in and catch some cinematic shots for this battle. This would be like the most confusing battle to actually fight in, though, because both sides field exactly the same units. So, like, I wouldn't even know which one was friend and which one was foe. Oh, there is the horse archer still alive and causing trouble behind enemy lines with them charging in. Only 10 units in that. 10 men in that unit remaining, but they're still causing some morale drop for the Skutatoy spears over here. And the Spathroid Guard engaged in melee as well. And actually, there's the general with the peacock feathers. He's probably feeling pretty good at this point. Yeah, I think that's it. HOENN still having 1,500 men left on the battlefield, and I'm betting that those horse archers got 100 kills each, so 400 kills right there. So that would have brought his man count, or DABOSS's man count, down to almost 1,000 before the battle even took place. So let's take a look. Where are they? Yeah, pretty much. This unit didn't, but these 3 units made up for it. Look at that. So 170. 280, 380, 440, 500 kills. Just over 500 kills from these horse archers before the battle even began. That's really, really a bad... that's just a sad thing to see. I feel bad for you, DABOSS. You tried your best, but his mercenary German knights here in the Dynatoy. Look at that. Dynatoy is pretty expensive. 0 kills on that unit. 0 kills with the general. Just being focused down early on in the battle. And then his archers kind of being focused down next, but they still got a decent amount of kills, so that's pretty impressive. And the spears and swords, kind of a mixed bag there. But high kills by the horse archers. High kills with the archers. and pretty good by these 2 units of Skutoi swords as well. So unfortunately, DABOSS is eliminated from this tournament, and HOENN Master will be moving on to round 3. So thanks very much for watching, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one.